guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my February 2024 reads. I read 4 books in February and yeah, let's get into it. The first book I read in February was The Hawthorne Legacy, and I read this one on Audible. It is the second book in the Inheritance games, and in this one they get, a little bit more in depth about like what's actually going on, what game they're actually playing. There's a lot of twists and turns and a lot of like will they, won't they moments. It's really fun, it's really cute. And there's a lot of things that are answered that were brought up in the first book, and a lot more questions that need answers. Anyway, I've really loved getting into this series. I wish I would have read it earlier. It is becoming one of my favorite series, and you just get to know these characters a little bit better. You get to know what their intentions are, what their family dynamic is. It's really cool. I have really enjoyed reading the series so far. The second book I read in February was The Final Gambit, and this is the third book in the Inheritance Games series. And in this one, we find out who a certain somebody is, and there's a lot of traps, I guess, a lot more questions, but there are a lot more answers in this one, I will say, about what is actually happening. What did this guy do really, when he put Avery in the will? We find out one of the grandsons, his father died recently, and he's trying to figure out why this happened, why his mother did what she did to all of them, basically. And right now I am reading the 4th book in this series on Audible, and it is basically told from, instead of Avery's point of view as the first 3 were, it's told from the grandson's point of view now, and it's switching between all of them depending on the chapter or whatever and what they are doing at a certain time. So it's really it telling their side of the story a little bit, and we're getting a little bit more background of when they were little and when the grandfather would give them these birthday tasks and stuff like that. But yeah, I am really enjoying it. I put off reading this last one for a while because they changed the narrator on Audible, and I'm like, oh man. But once I started, I understood why, and it is because, from my understanding, it's because they changed from it being Avery's point of view to now the grandson's point of view. But yeah, I do really recommend the series. If you guys haven't read it, go read it. It's so good. But yeah, the 3rd book I read in February was the 3rd Crescent City book that you guys all know, House of Flame and Shadow. I did a little review on this last week, I believe. I will link that in the description below, and also right up here. So this was the 3rd book in the Crescent City series, and as I said in my last video, this series is kind of hard for me to get into. It took me a while to read it, but it was really good. I read some conflicting thoughts about this one in particular, and how Bryce isn't the same Bryce that she was in the first 2, and just some conflicting things. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But when I originally finished it, I'm like, this was pretty good. But then you think about it more, and it's you get in your head, But Crescent City is, if you guys do start reading the series, it is a really hard, it's really hard for me to get into because it's so different, But I do recommend Sarah J. Maas, her writing, her series are all so good in their own way. But it is a 15 book long universe, I guess, because they all are connected in some way or another, but you just gotta find those hints. The 4th book I read in February was Ice Planet Barbarians. Now, this one I read on Kindle. I pushed this off for a very long time just because of the different things I heard about it, different things I read about it, different opinions that people had about it. It was good, but it wasn't. The characters were good in their own ways. It was just a weird concept to me. I don't know. I've never read anything like this before where it was aliens and stuff like that. So basically, the main girl, she gets abducted from like her house in the middle of the night. And she gets abducted by these aliens, and they are like taking all of these girls in their like 20s, and they're like shipping them off to like be cargo or something. I don't know. It's never really explained like what they were actually like being used for. And eventually they get like dropped off of the spaceship into like this other planet. And the main girl, they like make her go out and scout the place, and she runs into this other guy who they don't speak each other's language because they are aliens to each other. And she bumps into this guy, kind of. It ends up that she is his mate. And at first it's like really frustrating trying to like figure out like how are you going to communicate to this guy? How are you going to like tell them there are other people here that need help too? But they find this like spaceship, and the spaceship gives her like the ability to speak to him, and it basically like it knocks her out for a minute because like, oh my god, this whole new language is going in my brain. And he kind of like freaks out, but like he doesn't destroy the spaceship because it comes in later. And she like ends up being able to talk to him and tell him like there are more people here, we have to go save them. And he like brings her back to his like tribe, I guess, and they get help. But first she's like, they're not gonna know what you're saying, they're gonna be all confused. So they all of the other like alien guys, they get this like language transplant, I guess, like in their head from the spaceship, and they can like help out all the other girls and bring them to safety. So it was an interesting read. I think it was really short. I finished this one in like 4 days. So it was really short. I liked it for the most part. I think it is part of like a really long series, but I'm not sure if I'm going to read the next one yet. I have a couple other books on my TBR that I want to get through first, but that'll bring us to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you read any of these books I mentioned in this video down below, or any recommendations that you guys have. I've really enjoyed making these videos for you guys. It's been really fun, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!